unfair. They'll put you down and leave you there, don't make them scared. Yeah, that's the truth. How they coming for you.
We got the edge. We got the edge. Sharpen the blade, feel the cut, be the deepest. Yeah. We're hacking the game, don't underestimate us. Yeah. Still got the lions, they roaring inside. We claim our power, we're ready to fight. Showing our colors, we're coming alive, coming alive. Greater, stronger, better, faster. We got the edge. We got the edge. Feel our power, we are stronger. You can't stop us. We got the edge. We got the edge. Carved like a knife, unchained, we are boundless. Unstoppable, untamed, we are fearless. Yeah. Still got the lions, they're roaring inside. Take back our kingdom, we're ready to fight. Showing no mercy, got red in our eyes, red in our eyes. Greater, stronger, better, faster. We got the edge. We got the edge. Feel our power, we are stronger. You can't stop us. We got the edge. We got the edge. Stronger, better, faster. We got the edge. We got the edge. Feel our power, we are stronger. You can't stop us. We got the edge. We got the edge.
Come back to life.
Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. Even if I fall, I'll be up again, 'cause I'm a fighter. I am a fighter. I'm a survivor. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. I punch in my card, I know what it costs. Yeah, I put in the work that you don't. Day after day, I work in the play. Yeah, I'll do all the things that you won't. Even when my feet get tired, I will keep on moving higher. I'm the story you don't speak of. I'm the one that
Yo! What's up, everyone? Did you see Paul's comment?
I did.
The Chat GPT, 1.5 million subs.
I wish.
Paul, I think you need to tell Google about that. Let them know. So that'd be nice. Johnny, P-Dog coming in with old school teas.
It's old school, man. It's old school.
Love that. Yeah, we need to get some new stuff. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on
a stack of them. So I put them in like a stack, and I'm just gonna wear them, cycle them through the videos. I haven't worn them. Some of them will look a little beated, but I'm gonna wear them all through the videos, the upcoming videos. So
Yeah.
you see this one in the video. Yeah.
Nice. All right, welcome everyone. Hope you're having a great Saturday. So Patrick, how you doing overall? Doing all right? How was the last week?
Good, man. A little chilly.
A little chilly.
A little cold.
Chilly. I was I was wearing my beanie a lot last week. Yeah. I got on some calls. People were like, "What is that?" I was telling people I had hair implants and I was just covering it up with the beanie. So.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah. So I shaved this morning though, so the beanie won't stay on. It's just like nothing to grab onto, so it just comes off. So oh well. All right. Welcome everyone. I hope you've had a great last week as well. If you are new to the live stream or GuyaNaCube in general, put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing all the new faces and just getting to say hi, and just excited about that. Also, shout out to all of the members of GuyaNaCube. You help us do what we do here. So big thank you to that. If you want to learn more about being a member, check out the link on the screen or hit the join button down below. No commitment required, just a big thank you. If you see folks with the green name or the GuyaNaCube logo next to their name, those are members of GuyaNaCube. So thank you. Yeah, members, hold your questions until the second half when Chatmaster C gives you the go. She'll put a green light in the chat, and that is your cue to get your questions in the queue. So, all right, let's see who's new here.
Got a few names.
Yeah, we got a few. Got a few. I saw, where is it? Joe said F. I don't know why he did that.
Fahrenheit?
Penny?
I think they were trying.
Oh, Fahrenheit. I was like, I thought he was like paying respects. You know, that's usually what they say. Put F in the chat for respect. Penny's new. Babul is new. Let's see here. Sachin's new. Kalisha is new. Hope I said that right. Wise Man is new. And then Klaus, you're not new. New with the blue badge. Yeah, I get that. You've been a long time member. I appreciate that. So, yeah, Praveen's old. Nice. Well, welcome everyone. Glad you made 16. It. Glad you're here. Hope you enjoy it. We start the day. What? Oh, 16 year to date for the It Depends Fund. Nice, nice. All right. Vivesh is back and new. All right. Mahesh is new. Welcome. And then Arun, first time live. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining. Glad you can make it. So, all right. So the rules for the stream, and I haven't seen. Oh, Matthew is here. Welcome, Matthew. And then Rishraj, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated. Amazing, amazing. Okay. So if you are a new member of, or no, new member. So rules for the stream. Sorry, I got distracted. If you do want to get a question answered, go ahead and put Q: in front of that question. Chatmaster C is standing by. So please do not post it more than once. One time is all you need, and Chatmaster C will get it in the queue. We don't get through all the questions typically in the stream, so just be aware of that. Matthew can't find his text file. Oh no, that's a shame. So yeah, we have a 3 strikes rule here on Guy in a Cube. So if you start repeating the question, we have 3 strikes, and you get put into a timeout by either Chatmaster C or one of our lovely moderators, except for Patrick. Patrick won't do it. So just one time. That's all you need. We don't get through everything, so if we don't get to it, apologies. Come back next time, and we'll try it again. And then members, like I said before, hold your questions until the second half. We'll go into a member-only chat, so where members and moderators can participate. Throughout the entire stream, if you do have a burning question and you want to make sure it gets answered, then Super Chat is the way to go. Super Chats will always get priority and jump the queue. Just make sure if you do the Super Chat and you want a question with it, type out the question before you submit it. So, all right. And we had a few more news come in. So I saw, where is it? Andrew's new. And then Boris193 is new as well. Welcome. Love it. Love seeing everyone here. Glad you can make it. All right, Patrick, are you ready?
Yeah.
You're ready. All right. So also FYI, there's not many questions in the queue. So be sure to get your questions in. Now's your chance. And make sure it's Q: in front of it. So, all right, Andrew coming in first. Let's see here. If I am using a many-to-many relationship to handle different grains, and I am using a summarize add columns pattern, is using group by and joins a good replacement to extend the table to the many-to-many dimension table? Go, Patrick. I know, we were talking about this before we went live.
Ooh, all that makes me really nervous, Andrew, because what my assumption is that you're doing all of this in DAX. Because I see add columns, I see group by, I see summarize, and it seems like you're trying to build your data model in DAX, or extend your data model with DAX. That's what I think you're doing. And if that, Johnny, stop it, Johnny, stop it.
That's what I said.
So, yeah. So the first thing I would do, and Toma just said it, I would. Yeah, the business problem, right? So figure out the business problem. But I would try to resolve that many-to-many with some breach tables, or I would go back up to the source. This is Matthew Roach, right? close to the source as possible. I would try to go up to my source and try to fix my data model there. And then if I need to do some additional modeling that can't be done, if I don't have access to the source, I go into Power Query and try to do these things. The refresh may slow down, but at least you're not materializing huge amounts of thing in memory. And then you're not doing this in your DAX functions where, the optimizations from a compression perspective doesn't happen with calculated columns and calculated tables and things like that. So I try to push stuff up to the source. And I know I'm not answering your question, but I think this is a bigger issue as opposed to what you're trying to do instead of how you're trying to do it. Yeah, that's the one I am using. What does that mean?
I don't know what that was. Oh, so he said he said that he was doing currency conversion and allocations in the summarized ag columns.
Currency conversions. Use calc groups for currency conversions. Use calc groups.
Yeah,
and Marco.
So that was one thing Joe mentioned, the currency patterns on daxpatterns.com.
Yeah.
So go check that out.
They have great ones. Yeah.
Yep. Oh.
I guess that's why you need that's why you need the business problem first. So if I'd asked for the business problem first, then I wouldn't have to say everything I said. So
Yep.
So go look at that. That's beautiful. Yep.
Nice. All right. And then where'd it go? There it is. And then Chris Wagner coming in with a super chat, says, pour one out for my cubies. All right. Very nice.
Chris?
Oh, don't do that. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Chris. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Chris.
And Jason H in the chat. Hello, Jason.
Thank you for Everett's work. It was impeccable. I'm trying to use the mute better these days.
Well, this is when you if you do the sneeze though, you do this, right?
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Patrick's getting better at the mute though, for sure. Like he's getting more used to it. So, all right, going back. So Andrew, hopefully that helped you out. All right, Evan. Where is the best place to get some dashboard design examples? Whew.
Are we talking dashboards or reports?
Yeah, that was the question. Well, we're talking reports.
So go to community. Go to community.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Community.powerbi.com.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'll show. Let me jump to my computer. There we go. Well, that wasn't it. Wrong button. Here, let's go there. There we go. That's what I wanted. And so one thing, I was having a discussion with someone yesterday, and if you go into Power BI, if you're in the portal, go to Learn, and then I will point out the samples that are here. And so these are great examples. Chris Hamill did a lot of work on these. And I think Miguel Myers also did a few as well. But these are things where you can maybe get some examples on what's in there. So I don't know if you've had a look through these. That one's not great, but the first couple ones are great. So that might help you do some things. The other things I would do as well is take a look at what's Mara's last name? I don't remember Mara's last name.
The data pairs? Are you talking about?
Yeah, data pairs. The data pairs YouTube channel. So Mara's got a bunch of stuff, and then Kelly Kolasko's also got a bunch of stuff on design as well. So those are two folks.
Reed's got some good stuff on design too.
Reed does have some things as well.
Reed's got some good stuff on design.
Also the How to Power BI channel, he's been doing a lot. Baz over there has been doing a lot on design as well. So those are all things that you could look at from a reference perspective. So that's what I would say. But yeah, also community, community is going to have a whole bunch of stuff. Some's good, some maybe not so good. Yeah. So just see what resonates with you and resonates with users within your organization, and go with that. Sheila is also saying Workout Wednesdays. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Joe. So Miguel did a live stream as well, and he also Miguel also just did. Let me get it. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. He did a live stream recently over on DAX Tips YouTube channel. So I don't know if Phil Seamark did this. So it was called The Future of Power BI Visuals. So he talks about, so Miguel's like working on right now about like updating the visuals to be more modern and following actual, following better design practices. And so that's one thing that he's personally working on in the product. So he's a PM on the product team, and so that's something you can take a look at in terms of future. And I think he has some examples of things in there as well that you can maybe glean some insights from. So definitely check that out. Cool. All right. Okay.
It's a good one. That's a good question.
Yep. All right, Matthias, what could become the best new feature in 2023? I just did a video on that. It's gonna be virtual reality.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I kid.
Let's just not talk about that video. Let's not talk about that video. Let's not talk about that video. Let's just not talk about it.
I'm trying to remember just off the top of my head, like what's on the road or what's on the release plan that's coming. Let me look.
The on object
Yeah, the
stuff
on
is
object
the
stuff
release
is going to be
plan.
good.
It's on the release
That is
plan.
going to be good.
I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I don't know.
No, there's a lot of interesting things that are coming. Some I can mention, some I can't.
Is Visual Calcs on it? I know they've been demoing it everywhere. Is it not on it?
Well, sometimes it's hard because they don't necessarily just call it that. But I don't know if it's on. It was there and then it came off. But it's been. Yeah,
I got something. I got something.
Yeah.
Editing models in the web. I saw it on there the other day. Editing models in the web.
All right.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So that means we'll just be able to create models in the web, right?
Yeah.
No.
No. I didn't say that.
Saying
I
yeah
didn't say
for I
that.
tricked you. I tricked you.
I did not
No.
say that. I did not
No.
say that. I did not say that. I did not say. You know what's pretty cool though, and it's already out, and I guess it came out last year. Was the Windows functions? The Windows functions are nice. Alberto did a great video breaking down index and offset and the window itself. So
Yeah.
ascending by default on the x-axis. Oh. Didn't even know about that.
Yeah, so Joe, it's a step towards that for like Mac users. I would not say it's a complete thing yet. It's part of the journey for sure, but not 100% yet. So it'll be interesting for that scenario.
Though. It's an exciting journey. Right? It's an exciting journey.
Yes, that's
kind of Benny. Look what Benny.
That's kind of the idea. What did Benny say? What did Benny say?
QSO. How could we not talk about QSO?
Well, but that was. Did that actually come out in 2023? Because it's
January,
out.
right?
Did it come out in January? Was kind of a lost month for me. So.
Lost month.
It was.
Yeah,
That was for.
I got you. It came out in January, I think. I think it came out in January. So Windows functions.
See, but that's the other thing. Like we were, because we knew about it before 2020. So sometimes it's hard for me when we cross the year boundary. Like, wait, if it comes out right around there, it's hard for me to. Yeah.
Pabita query scale out, and it was announced at past summit. It was announced at past summit. Paul was right. Query scale out, Pabita, and so like you can have a dedicated. For refresh, and then you can have like multiple model, have it scaled out where you can do querying on top of it. So I'll find a link. Somebody will post a link in the chat.
Yeah, Benny GA doesn't. We're talking about like when's it actually out? But yeah, the GA part that'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Dav, best new feature is SQL bits in Wales. All right.
Better Excel export. Better Excel.
Oh, that's right. They upped the limit to 500,000.
No, stop exporting. Just
I
stop
know. I'm just saying that was a big ask for. That's a big ask. So, So this question, Power BI desktop for Mac, never gonna happen. I did a video on that, so it's on the Guy in a Cube YouTube channel. It was years ago. Still point of record. Nothing has changed. So the direction is that it's going to be the web experience is going to be aligned to help with that. It's a journey. So that's something that I believe Kim Manis commented on, there was an idea item for that, and it was commented on in that idea item as well, the same piece. And so what Patrick mentioned with the editing models in web, that is something that will, it's part of that journey. So not going to get a Mac client. So yeah, never going to happen. Chris said never going to happen button. Oh, you know what else came out that made a lot of, or nah, that wasn't Power BI related. Never mind. I saw Data is King made a Teams comment. It made me think of the Teams Stream Deck buttons. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was a cool feature. I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't Power BI. We need a Power BI Stream Deck thing where I don't know what you would do. Maybe just Excel, export to Excel. Just export to Excel.
Export to Excel.
Just a quick button. Make it happen. All right.
Okay.
Moving on. All right. Dahlia. Measure level security with measure times 0 or 1.
Yeah.
Good or
no,
bad
this
idea?
Is good.
What do you mean by
idea.
measure
Bad
level?
idea.
What do you mean by measure level security?
Bad idea.
Okay.
Bad idea. So think about it. It's me. It's you and I. It's you and I. And basically, if it's me, multiply the measure by. If you don't have access, multiply the measure by 0.
Yeah.
If it's me, multiply by 1.
That's
Don't
not
do that.
security.
Use object level security.
That's not security.
But use object level.
Yeah.
So if that measure includes a column that Adam doesn't have access to, it won't calculate and he won't see it. If Patrick has if Patrick has access to the column, it'll show it. So
Right. Yes.
I did a video on combining RLS and OLS, row level and object level together.
Yep.
Go look at that video. It's somewhere on our YouTube channel. Yeah.
I'm going to say that, so this is another example of, and I said this in one of the videos where I was talking about page navigation. So I'm going to use my word here. So doing what you're mentioning there, it is not security. So do not confuse that with security. It's obfuscation.
Yep.
So be careful with that.
Ooh, so then object level security without third party tool.
Wait, what?
So if you can't use tablet editor.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a choice, you could do something like this, but just, be aware of what Adam said.
It's not security.
This is not security. It's not security.
Yeah. So you could use it if you just want to kind of hide it, but just know that you're not really, it's not security. So do not confuse it with that. Yeah. That's the important part. So.
Chris, I like Chris' point though, but don't return 0, just return a blank. Don't return anything. Just return a blank. Yeah.
Yeah, because 0 could also confuse people, be like, oh, well, the value is actually 0. Like something's wrong with the data.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you want it to be nothing.
Yeah, tell me you're right. It's masking, it's obfuscation, right? It's not security though. That's the biggest thing. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's go. Sandy.
Ooh, that's a good point, Johnny. So Johnny, I'm sorry, I don't mean to belabor this, but think about if you do a report level measure. Well,
yeah.
Right? So if I decide to do my own, I can get around it.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like the base data is still there. You haven't restricted it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
No, David, don't say that. You're right on time. You're not late. You're right on time.
No.
You're not late. Welcome to the party. Okay, moving on. Sandy. Let's see here. How to implement partition by kind of behavior in rank X function. So the rank starts from 1 whenever parent group changes. Didn't you were talking about doing something like that? Because that's like where the offset stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think instead of you would use the offset. And I think that's what I did in the video that's coming out next week. I don't remember, man. But if you use rank X, that first parameter in rank X is a table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the whole.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so when you use the partition by, if you want to restart on, and I saw this and I was going to try to write up a sample. I just didn't have time. But like when you do in the partition by, it would be, you would specify that column you want to restart on. Well, I don't know what the column is that you want to restart on, but that's where you would restart. So let's say it's continent, and you wanted to just get all the countries in the continent, then rank them, then restart. You would partition by that country. I'll write it down, Adam. And maybe we'll do a video.
I mean, to me, the minute you say partition by, I immediately go to the windowing functions.
Using rank X. with Windows function. Okay,
Yep.
that's a good one.
Yep.
It's on the list. It's on the whiteboard. It's on the whiteboard. And I'm back.
Fernando, I don't know what that means. Fernando
What?
said, Patrick, please lag lead video. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I mean, you can do it. That's easy to do with offset. You know, a lag or a lead. That's easy to do with offset.
Yes, Matthias. He wrote it. He wrote it on the wall, not the box.
Yeah. And I know. I gotta make these whole two walls whiteboards. You just can't see them.
Fernando says the SQL window type of thing.
Yeah. I got it. I got what he saw. I got what he's talking about. And so there's a video coming out to talk about over and partition by or something rank next
over
week
and rank
for T-SQL.
For T-SQL.
Yeah. Okay, so do lag lead for T-SQL. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
It's potentially gonna bump off the video you were telling me this morning, Patrick, that you were really excited
you hurt
about.
My feelings.
I did
You hurt
not.
my feelings. So let's just say it. Let's just say it. So I was thinking about doing a video on referential integrity. So imagine you have a dimension. And you have the whiteboard is really big. It's like 2 walls. It's 2 walls. It's huge. I'll take a picture of it and post it on Twitter.
It should be in Texas, right? It's so big.
I'll post it on Twitter. I really will. I'll take a picture of it. Jason's seen it. Everybody's seen it. Matthew, they've all
Matthew's
seen
seen it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you haven't seen it.
I haven't been there since you went to the new room.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't get invited there.
Okay. Anyway,
It's fine.
you don't need an invite. You don't need an invite. It's open door. You don't need an invite.
You hear that, everyone?
and so-
Patrick's house is open door. Just go.
For and so I was thinking about doing a video on referential integrity. So think about if you have a dimension and you have
From a
fact.
SQL perspective.
The dimension has 3 from a SQL perspective. The dimension has 3 rows in it, and if I don't have any type of referential integrity on the key columns that relate the dimension to the fact, I can just enter any values in that product key, let's say column, but there's no constraints to stop me from violating the integrity. And I was like, we should do a video on that. And Adam wasn't too excited about that video. So anyway, I erased it off the whiteboard. What do you think? What does everybody think?
I said it's good to have some foundational videos there. I think it's good. This is our Power BI crowd, though. They don't need.
Yeah. Oh, they do data modeling. Yes, they do. See, look,
Johnny wants it. All right, do it for Johnny. And do it for Johnny because Johnny's going to miss the Power Hour at Bits. That's why.
Oh, okay.
All right.
We're not talking about this at the Power Hour, though.
No. We don't talk about real things in the Power Hour.
No.
Okay. All right. Let's get. We're bumping up against the clock here, so let's go with NIS 007. When changing the date with local time zone after publishing in Power BI service, it changes all the dates back to UTC. Yes, because the service is UTC. So you got to understand that. So when you're doing it in Power BI desktop, it'll be your local time, right? So it's accommodating, your time, and so you got to be aware that from the service perspective, that's going to be UTC based, and so you have to account for it as if it's in the service. So be aware of that. So that is that one. So that's why you're seeing UTC. All right, Satish. We haven't had an It Depends
That's
yet.
good to know, Adam. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
You
That's
didn't
good
know it
to
was UTC in the service?
I didn't. I did. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I really don't.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is there a way to read files under network file share folder dynamically? Gateway does not load data as it is a dynamic source. Dynamics. Why is it a dynamic source? That's any Power Query trick.
Because they want it.
Why is it a dynamic source? Because you can do a folder data source and pump in a UNC path. That doesn't make it dynamic.
What if they make what if I parameterize the folder path?
Well, and that's Chris's point too. Like, what about that is dynamic?
Well,
that's what I don't know.
because I'm populating the parameter.
Well, no,
with it. So
but what are you using the parameter for? Like, what's it being used? What about it's dynamic? Because if you just have a folder path and it's a bunch of CSV files or Excel files, that'll work. Even if it's a
That's
UNC
not
path.
dynamic. I mean,
That's
if I
not dynamic.
parameterize it, it's not dynamic.
Well, if you parameterize it,
It's just
yes.
correct.
I'm asking, why is it parameterized?
Because I want to change it across different environments. I'm just right. I'm just
Yeah, it could be.
right. So like I changed my server name I parameterized my server name. So dynamic file names.
File names are dynamic. Well, okay, then you're not. So the challenge here is that when you do that from a Power Query validation perspective, it may invalidate the source, at which point you may break. Like that's what's causing the refresh not to work, because it hasn't been authorized.
Alex?
Yeah, that's my guess. So I don't know of a way you can. Yeah, I don't know of another way you could do that.
Data
But that's the thing.
Says I have
Toma's kind of doing what I'm
video
thinking, because you can do so I don't know why the file names are dynamic. So maybe look at a way to figure out like how can we, I don't know, if we just go with a folder perspective, if the schema is all the same, it'll just grab the files that are part of that from a CSV and Excel perspective. So I'd have to look more at the example there. I don't know.
But the key, I think you said it's got to be a UNC path. It can't be C:.
Well, no, you
right?
said a network path, so that's UNC.
Oh, he said a network path. Okay,
Yeah,
I missed
yeah.
that part. I missed that part.
Yeah, he said it's a file share folder, and so so that'll be a UNC path. So use the UNC path. But if you're dynamically saying that the files are there, files are Parquet girls. Okay.
Where do you see this at? I missed that part. I missed that.
chat.
Files are Parquet. They're Parquets. The files are Parquet. Okay. Yeah.
So I guess that.
So what I'm thinking is,
Go ahead.
maybe they're driving the files from some type of table, and then I'm just saying every time they refresh, right, they have a table that provides those file names, and then they're just looping through that or something like that.
Yeah, I'd have to play with that more.
See, look, Paul and I are on the same page here. That's what I think they're doing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Use the folder. Don't use files. Use folder and see if you can get that to work. But does that work with Parquet files though? It should.
I don't know.
I'd have to try it.
I don't know.
But that's why I'm saying, like, why are we going off the individual files? Like, use the folder and just give it the folder path
Instead of the files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to.
Doesn't
then
matter.
it should just work.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Doesn't matter what's
there's
in that
nuances.
folder.
There's nuances there though. So yeah. Okay. All right. We are at time. Chatmaster C indicated she cleared the queue. So apologies. There were a bunch of questions in the queue. So apologies we didn't get through all of that.
There was one about slowly changing stuff too.
I
was
know.
so
Marco was
excited. I thought
commenting
we were
on
gonna
it. I
get to
saw.
that.
I know.
Okay.
Marco was.
commenting.
Hey,
Okay.
Patrick, you need to. So Patrick doesn't understand the rules here either. You can always tell me go after this question, and we'll just go to it. So if there's something you really,
first in, first.
that's calling it.
First.
Like if there was an incremental refresh question, Patrick's all over that. Like, so.
So Chris said that was a good question. We should answer it anyway.
It's already gone.
Dang
Where it
it.
is. Sorry. Hang on. Where is it? Was it from Samuel? I think this was it. All right. Can you build SCD Type 2 solely in Power Query, or even further upstream, but with read-only access to the database? Was that what you were?
You can't, if you only have read-only access, I'll tell you this: if you only have read-only, you could write a query, and you would have to use some of an over clause or something like that, and then. Right, I didn't even see this comment. Type 2, yeah. I don't think you could do this in Power Query. I don't think you can do Type 2s in Power Query. You could
I don't know
write
how you would.
some daring SQL to try to do something like this. But if you only have read access, I don't know how I would detect the changes. No, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah, because
Can't do
how
it.
do you track the history of it there? Like,
Yeah,
that's the whole
yeah,
point
you
of
can't
it.
do it. No, you can't do it. You got to do it in the back end. You got to do it in the back end.
All right.
Yeah.
So we are kicking over to member-only chat. So this means that only members and moderators will be able to participate in the chat. So thank you, everyone. You can still watch and learn things and enjoy the witty banter in the chat. So if you do have a question we didn't get to, apologies. Super chats will take priority even in member-only chat mode. You can still do a super chat if you have a burning question and want it answered. So let's go over to member only chat. If you want to learn more about being a member, as I mentioned before, you can check the join button down below, or I will put the link back in the chat so you can look at that as well. So no commitment required. So if you just want to check it out and see what it's all about, we can do that. So cool. All right, with being a member at the visitor or producer tier, we do offer the ability to pre-submit questions. So this gives us time to maybe look at it a little deeper and, try and get some examples and things of that nature. And so we do have 2 pre-submitted questions today. And none of them will be answered by Patrick. So isn't that amazing? And Riverland 007, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you so much. All right. So the first question, let's get to. So both of these are permission related.
Hey,
so the first.
Before you go, how do we submit these questions, Adam?
Okay, so hang on, let me go back here. So how do you submit the questions? So if you go to the member or go to. So there's 2 tabs when you go to the YouTube channel. You're going to see a community tab, and then you'll also see a members tab. And so for the members, I do a member-only post that has instructions on how to pre-submit the questions. And so that's how you can do it. So I post it regularly, like every 3 months or so, just to get it back on top. But that's how you can go pre-submit your questions. Just realize you have to be at the visitor or producer tier. So if you're just at the supporter tier, that doesn't give that benefit. So so that's maybe why you don't even see it on the members tab. So it's only for visitors and producers. So that's how you can pre-submit. So, okay, cool. All right. What's,
Keep going. Let's keep rolling.
All right. So Adam had a question, and I really like this because he's got a great name. So we only provide workspace access to developers and use apps for report consumers. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that is a great way to approach it. We have particular difficulties with reports that use live connections to a data set from another workspace. So the users are reporting that they're not allowed to see the content. So if we share an app that combines or contains content relying on multiple data sets, do we need to provide permissions explicitly on those data sets? Or is the app taking care of that? What permissions needed for live connection reports in the dataset workspace? There's a lot to unpack there. So first off, I'm going to say it depends as of right now. I'll kind of talk about where the it depends kind of falls into this. So the other thing, and I had some back and forth with Adam as well on, I don't know if some of this behavior changed recently. But I'm able to actually, it works successfully for me. So, but let's head over to my machine and take a look. So what we're going to see, I'm logged in as my user, and then I'm logged in as Joe Black here. And so from Joe Black's perspective, I'm going to go to my published app, and inside of my app, I've got a report here. The report is in the workspace for this app, but it's referencing a data set that's in another workspace. And you can see here, it says, hey, you don't have permissions for this content. That's because Joe Black doesn't have permissions to the underlying data set in the original workspace where the data set is, right? So Joe only has access to this app, which is also in the workspace that's associated with that. So that's why I'm getting that permission error. So if I go back, if we go back here, let's go to our workspace. So you'll see I've got build test 1, build test 2, build test 3. And so from build test 3 perspective, if I go into the app itself, if I go to audience, you'll see Joe Black is a member of this. This is coming up because it's for my user and my user has access. So if I go back to, so the data set in question, continue. The data set in question is in this build test 1, and Joe does not have access to this workspace. So if I look at access, Joe doesn't have it, neither does Patrick. And if what I'm going to do is go into the app, I'm going to go to the audiences for this app. You'll see that Joe Black is not listed here either. I'm going to add Joe here. All right. And then we'll update the app. It's going to say, hey, when you update the app that has large distribution, it could take a little bit. That's okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do, let's go back and look at Joe and see what happens for him now. I'm just going to refresh, make sure all the permissions go through. Yes, Joe, that's where it came from. I love that movie. And then we'll go to, apps. And we'll go to build test 3. Takes a little bit to propagate. This worked and I got no internet. What the heck? There we go. So this morning when I did it, the minute I added to the app, it like immediately worked. Immediately worked.
It'll work. Be patient. Like you told me. Be patient.
Yeah, Chris. Joe Black. He was just the Grim Reaper. He was death. So he was collecting someone. It was a great movie. Claire Filani was in it too. Let's try it again. Give it a second. This is so anticlimactic. Oh my gosh, you were working this morning. It did it. All right. So believe me when I say this does work. It just takes a minute to propagate. So the thing here is that what you'll notice under build report 1, so this is the original, this is the data set that the report's being built off of. If I come down, because I added him to the app, if I come down to manage permissions, you'll see that Joe Black now is listed here from an app perspective and has access to, wait, that's to the report. I don't want the report. No, that's the data set. Yep. And so this should give Joe access to that data set itself.
So it automatically handles it for you.
It should. It did this morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the thing, Daryl, that's a great point. Like use the security groups instead of individual users. That's a great recommendation. And then the thing where the it depends comes in. So I do know there was a blog post that was put out there where it used to be that you needed build access to get to the data set. And there was an update, and this specifically came about through the use of composite models. And so the composite model, if the composite model referenced another data set, like it required build access. There was an update though for premium workspaces where they updated it to where the read access actually let you do it. So you didn't need build access anymore in that scenario. However, for pro workspaces, you did need build access still. So there's still an it depends comment on there depending on what you're doing. So that's, and of note, these are all pro workspaces. So, yeah, God, it's still hasn't kicked through. It did work this morning though. So defining it in the app specifically should give them read access to the underlying data set, and it should work. So that should be all you need. But it is an extra step that you have to go do. So you just got to make sure that they're there. All right. Cool. All right. So let's go on to the second question. Again, another permission-based question. Let's go in. So from Anka, I have a Power BI report that points to a paginated report. User X is the owner, and everything works as expected for that user. When published in an app, the user Y only has permissions via the app. User Y cannot view the paginated report. What's needed to allow the user Y to view the paginated report through the published app? Great question. So let me go back, head back over to my machine. And we're signed in as, this is Joe. Yep. So Joe's just a pro user, pro workspaces, no premium going on here. So if I go to my app for Paginated, you'll see here that I've got the Paginated visual, and it can't display the visual. And then I've also got a link directly to the Paginated report, and I've also got the link to the Paginated report in the app navigation. So if I click here also, it basically says, hey, you don't have access to this. We gotta we gotta check it. So all right. So same thing or similar thing here. Well, not similar. The challenge here is paginated reports. So the paginated reports today do not honor the permission pieces from an app level. So I'm hopeful that will come in time, but right now they just don't. So if you get access through the app, it's not going to affect the underlying paginated report. So what you do have to do for paginated reports, if I come into, not that, go back to my main user. If I go into the report, I've got to actually explicitly add them into the access. So manage permissions, and then I've got to add Joe here. Right, and then grant access. And then you'll see that they've got read access on that paginated report. So I'm not adding them to the workspace. So they don't have access to the full workspace. I'm just adding them on that paginated report. The other thing to know is there is a difference here depending on what the paginated report is using for the data source. So if you're referencing a data set, you won't actually see this option. So this is only, like in this case, it's going directly to a SQL server. So that's why I have this option. So if I go back now to, let's go back to Joe. And if I go into the app, we'll go into paginated, and now the paginated report works. Yay, that one worked. That one worked. And so this works for the embedded visual. Now, if I do the link, the direct link, will that work? And the answer is yes. And so again, they don't have access to the workspace as a whole. They only have read access on that paginated report. And that is there. And Johnny, the answer is no on that. You can't hide the paginated report. That will cause things to break. So that has not changed. So, all right. And just for good measure, let's go see. It still hasn't gone through. Good Lord. It worked this morning, I swear. Oh my gosh. Of course. Speed of the cloud.
So
all right.
funny.
All right. So those were the two. Yeah, I know, Johnny. That makes me sad too. All right. So Daryl, I didn't check with the data set. So as long as they have permissions to the underlying data set, the challenge is that the actual paginated report itself, I don't know if that would work. I'd have to try it. I'm actually gonna guess that it will not work. Because you still don't have access to the actual RDL itself from a workspace perspective. So, and there's no option there. So that's actually it's a limitation from what I can see. So, yes, Chris. All right. You ready for the cue, Patrick?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, let's go. Forever twerp. Johnny also thinks that it will work. So that's good. I'll have to play with it. Yes, Heidi, it's messy. Hey, Heidi, good to see you. All right. So finally convince the user to move their very large query onto incremental refresh. Ooh, she's forever twerp speaking your language, Patrick. When setting it up, any tips on getting the initial load to complete if it's already struggling with the size? Yes, you did a video on this.
Finally convince you to move very large.
You weren't even listening.
Yeah.
You did a video.
Yeah. So I got a video on it. Yeah. But here's the question though. Are you on premium?
You gotta be on premium.
for
Gotta be
Twerp?
premium.
Are you on premium?
If you're not premium, there's no good thing here.
Well.
Oh no, you did another thing. You did another one too, didn't you?
I just had an idea. If you're on premium, super easy. There's a video I talk about when you initially deploy the model. So you need access
Forever
to
Twerp's
the
on
source.
premium.
Go ahead. So it doesn't matter at this point though. So what you would do is if you have access to the source, you could use a view in your source and just have that view return no data. Just put like where 1 equals 0. You know, have your data, 1 equals 0. Do the refresh. It's going to refresh. It's going to create your partitions, and everything's going to be empty. And then hydrate each one of those models, those partitions. You know, refresh each partition using Management Studio individually. And then when you run refresh again, it's only going to refresh according to the policy. So if you say just refresh today, it's just going to refresh today. If you say refresh last year, it's only going to refresh last year. And that'll work for Pro too. You just don't have and what you could do with Pro is you can modify the view every time you do a refresh just to include the data in those partitions. Ooh, that's another good video.
Yeah, it's another incremental refresh video.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think you did. Yeah. I think you actually did talk about that in that video. You showed both.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you showed both.
Okay.
Because you said, oh, you can do it this way with the view first, but then here's another way you can do it from an XML endpoint. So, I'm pretty sure.
All right. Okay.
So some good comments also. Absolutely make sure things are optimized as well, both from the data source side of it as well as the model, to make sure that that's helping to contribute to the speed of processing. But outside of that, yeah, we can do. Yes. Okay.
What? Tell me.
No, they're just going talking about like Patrick makes the videos you need.
Oh,
this is true.
Of course. Yeah.
This is true. Of course.
This is true.
But that Chat GPT video.
No.
All right.
It's not good.
Risharaj has got a 3-part question here, Patrick. You got to pay attention. Are you paying attention?
Okay, I'm paying attention.
I don't
Yeah,
think
you know I'm
looking
writing this rank X with.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You gotta. I can see your desktop. That's what I'm saying. Pay attention.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. First part. Having some doubt regarding DAX. Okay. Let's say I have 2 transaction tables, F1 and F2, and 1 dimension table, D1, in the model. D1 filters both F1 and F2. Okay. With a one-to-many relationship. Yeah. Perfect. That's how it should work. As expected, no bidirectional filtering. Perfect. Now I'm creating a calculated column on F1, where for each row, based on a few filter parameters, I aggregate values from F2. Oh, you're going to run into problems. So this works fine only when I use a remove filters in my calculate. Without it, the DAX does not provide correct results. Though there is apparently no way for F1 and F2 filtering each other. Yeah, you're going to run into problems there. So go ahead.
What are you trying to do? So I made the mistake earlier of not asking the business problem, not making that mistake again.
What are your goals? Like, what are you trying to accomplish?
What are you trying to do here? Because why would I need a calculated column from one fact on another fact if both of them are filtered by the same table? You know, if they're both filtered by, I forget what that middle table is that's doing the filtering.
The dimension.
I don't want one fact. Yeah, but I don't know what the, dimension. I don't want, Toma, you're right. We could do a treat as, but I don't want to put a calculated column on another fact table. I just don't want to do that based on another fact table. What are we trying to do here?
Well, but my other thing too is that, so if you are doing that though, like if let's say there is an actual business need for doing whatever we're trying to accomplish, can we do that in the source or even in Power Query? Like, why are we doing that in DAX? All right, why can't we pre-calculate that before we even get to the DAX part? Like, is that a possibility?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, the minute you try crossing fact tables like that, it's problematic. So I would avoid that if at all possible. So okay. Outside of that,
understand
be more info.
Why you're trying to do that?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't do that. When you're trying to aggregate over on that up from one fact table to the other, what kind of measure? If you're just trying to do like a difference between the two, they'll work separately. Yeah. And then the only time you need to worry about the filters propagating is when you're using that middle dimension. And so if I have a product dimension that's in the middle, and I'm trying to compare or get a difference between those two measures, when you bring it onto a table that has one of those attributes from that dimension table, it's just going to work because you have one-to-many relationships between the two.
Yeah, and Thomas just mentioned something too that I was thinking about too. Like if they're two different fact tables, like why are we crossing if they're truly unique fact tables? I just can't think of a scenario in my head. Not to mean that there's not a scenario where that would be possible, but I can't think of one. So
anything's possible. Anything's possible.
All right, John. When will Miguel Myers make an appearance to talk about the visual roadmap? So I saw that I saw it on the DAX tips. I mean, it's already out there. So like, I don't know, like what more would it add?
We can invite Miguel though. So we can invite Miguel here.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Because it depends also if he says yes.
Paul is saying what none of us said about for the previous question. Create a measure. Why are you creating a calculated column?
Yeah, but I think also when you start doing that too, like you could get errors based on the fact that there's not a direct relationship and there's no bidirectional, and like there could be I've encountered some problems there when you try and do that. So. Oh,
everybody said that, Chris? Sorry, Chris. I was talking too much that I wasn't in the chat.
So he's like, Chris. Wait, we all said that.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry. My apologies. Okay.
In fairness, I missed part of that too.
I didn't see it. I missed it.
We were busy jib-jabbing and not looking at the chat.
Thinking about this rank X over here with this Windows function.
I know, you're distracted. You're distracted. All right, Pop Eater. How do you write reports utilizing slowly changing dimensions, taking into account the effective dates? Patrick's got a video on that.
I do. And so I want to bring up a point. I want to bring up a point that someone brought up to me about that video, and I like it. They called me out on it, and I'm going to do a follow-up video on this that needs to be done. And so I do have a video that shows you, and it's a common pattern that Kimball uses. I think Enterprise DNA has a video on it. There's lots of content, probably there. If you want to report historically, you just use that historical column. But then you have another column on your table that is, Damu, I'll talk about it at the pre-con. I wrote that down. Alex and I were talking about that. There is another column that you would add to that table. It's the current surrogate key for that particular dimension that's a slowly changing, and this is all in the video. The challenge is though, Adam, and I got called out, and I was excited when I was talking to the person. It was Pat Mahoney and I on the phone with him, and he said, well, Patrick, let's say I have a very large fact table and I'm using incremental refresh, and I say just refresh the current month. So that's that current flag for older partitions never gets updated because I'm never refreshing those older partitions. So if I have product 1, surrogate key 1, then it changes and I get surrogate key 2. But all those are pointing. Yes. How do I fix it? Easy. How do I fix it? Right?
Easy.
How do I fix it?
You go through.
Refresh the whole.
No. So this was the video that we did on how to handle deletes. It's the same thing. So you've got a separate, got the separate table that's actually tracking those, and you use that with the polling expression.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I didn't talk about this in that video.
I know.
In that slowly changing, I didn't
I'm just connecting the dots because I remember the videos that we got. So
yeah.
It's the only reason I know anything is because I'm one of the few that watch Patrick's video. That's how I learned things.
So after you watch this video, if you're doing a full refresh of that fact table, you can stop because it's always going to pick up that current column. But if you're not, then you'll have to figure out a way to go refresh older partitions. And it's on the whiteboard. A video will come out eventually one day about it.
Or calc column.
What did he say?
He said bridge or calc. They're going off on the SCD thing. Yeah.
I mean, you could do a calc column if you want to. You could. You could do it in Power Query and make it for us, because I did some Power Query stuff. You could do it there, but it requires you to refresh the entire model, not just. Anyway, go.
All right. So Rich Rash did comment. He said, I would say data is not always modeled at the source perfectly, so need to deal with this at the report layer. But that's where we say load, like do it in Power Query though. Don't do it from a DAX perspective. So do it in Power Query. Again, go as far upstream as possible, as far downstream as necessary. So Chris, you're saying link that video, please. Which video? Which one? I linked a few. I linked the SCD. Did you want me to link the handling delete one? I can do that. Hold, please. Delete. No. Where's it? Handling deletes. Here we go. So of note, we do have a playlist for incremental refresh that should have them all in there. I'll go back and verify that they're all in there. But yeah, Chris, I already dropped the link for the SCD one. So it's working with SCD, and I dropped the video there. So, and then there's the handling deletes. And then, yeah, what Patrick was just talking about, he didn't make that video yet. So, okay. All right, back to the queue. We got a few minutes left. Tom coming in with a question. For incremental refresh to work, wow, all right, everyone's speaking Patrick's language here. For incremental refresh to work, like, by the way, he's got like a few more incremental refresh video ideas. I'm like, dude, like this whole thing, there's gonna be like 20 videos in this playlist. For incremental refresh to work, does the data source in Azure SQL need to be a table, or will it work with a view? It'll work with a view.
It'll work with a view.
Yeah.
It'll work with a view.
It doesn't matter.
It'll work with a view.
Doesn't care. Doesn't care. Go crazy.
It'll work with a view.
Actually, we recommend you use a view, because now you're abstracting the
view.
table schema at that point, and it's easier to change if something on the table changes from a SQL perspective. So. Uh-oh. All right, here's another Patrick question. Please do not laugh. Dataflows or datamarts? Which is best for newbies?
Dataflows. It depends.
It depends.
It
It depends.
depends.
So I would say for newbies, don't use either. Like, start getting familiar with Power Query and DAX in Power BI Desktop. Like, play around with that. And then once you're ready to go to the... So I'll go back and say, what's your business problem? What are you trying to solve? Because it's not just always use this one or always use that one. What's the problem you're trying to solve? There's different use cases for each. So I would, yeah. It depends. It depends. So both will leverage Power Query Online. But there are... So the other thing to realize is that Datamarts is still in preview as well, whereas Dataflows is not. I believe, check me on this, Patrick, Datamarts is premium only, whereas Dataflows is not. So you can use Datamart or Dataflows in a pro workspace. So those are all things that also need to be considered. So the other thing is if you're just feeding... if the data is already like an Azure SQL database, it's already there. Like, do you really need a data mart at that point? Like if you're just doing a one-for-one. So those are all things that depends as well. So check your business requirements and go from there. All right, let's get one more. Yes. All right, Jason coming in telling me that. Yep. Yeah, and Heidi. So Heidi said like the tenant must enable it. It's actually enabled by default, but I would also argue that's exactly the same for Datamarts too, or Dataflows and Datamarts. They both have a tenant level setting. Oh wait, not that one. Sorry. Yeah. So what we saw though, or what I saw. Talking to some customers is when Datamarts first came out, they did disable it for the organization until they could figure out like how to use it or whatnot. Whereas Dataflows were enabled. So I think that's an indication of just maturity of people using Power BI and knowing what's there and how to govern it. Whereas when Dataflows first came out, that wasn't, maybe folks didn't have their whole grip around it yet. So it was interesting to see that. But Dataflows and Datamarts both have a tenant level setting to disable. So, all right, let's get one last question. Here we go. I have a model that has been refreshing successfully, but now the refresh is failing on the service. I looked into the model and made several small optimizations. Do you have a tool that you could use? You've been working with a customer on this, right? So, I would say if it just started recently failing, I think there was a service issue wasn't around like January 25th or whatnot, but I thought that was fixed. Like there was some underlying issue with Azure that caused it. But yeah. I think that was, so I'd ask, is it still happening? In terms of like a tool, I'm not aware of a tool. You go look at the gateway logs. So that's another question is, are you using a gateway? And so if it's going directly against a source in the cloud and not going through the gateway, the only thing I can really give you at that point, Sachin, absolutely make sure you're on the latest gateway. Maybe, bounce the gateway service just to make sure. But outside of that, you'd have to open up a support ticket for them to dig in. If it's actually something on the service itself, they've got to look at the telemetry. So
what's the error?
Yeah, I don't know what the error is. And then also, is it using a gateway or not?
What's the error? What error are you getting with the refresh? And how is it running and failing immediately? Is it running for a little bit?
Yeah.
What's the error?
Yeah. Is it timing out after? So like in Pro, we've got a hard timeout of 2 hours. In Premium, there's a hard timeout of 5 hours. So is it just taking too long? I don't know. There's so many things there. But no, to your specific question, no, there's no like real tool. It's just looking at the logs and looking at the error and just trying to diagnose it and doing what you can.
Rui has a Power BI. There's a Git repo, Power BI Monitor. If you look up Rui Romano, Power BI Monitor, he has a really good Power BI report that points to the logs if you capture them, and it gives you some really insightful information. So,
yeah.
Yep, and Chris did create visualize refresh, but I mean
that's not the gateway piece of it though. So that's if you're having like a slow performance problem. That's not going to help you if you're getting an actual error, if it's not performance related. So
there's so many questions here.
All right, so TC says that it was a transient. It says it was a transient issue and it started around the 25th. So I would say open a support case. It sounds like there's some problems going on in the service.
Yep.
So I am aware of a few other customers also having some issues as well. So Patrick's working with one right now. Yep. All right. That is it. We got through it, Patrick.
We did.
We did it. Any closing words of wisdom?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. There is. Right.
All right. Go for it.
So so I've been trying new stuff this week. I'm talking about from a technical perspective, like learning, but I failed a lot. With these new things that I'm learning. So it's okay to fail a little bit. Yeah, that's what I'm learning this week.
That's how you learn.
It's okay to fail a little bit.
That's how you learn.
Yeah, it's okay to fail a little bit, but I'm learning a lot. I've learned a lot. I'm delivering a users group. I'm presenting at the users group on Monday night here in Atlanta at the Microsoft office in Alpharetta, and on Lake House in an hour. And I have all the comments from the first time I presented it, and I was trying to update it, and I broke a lot of stuff in, but it's going to be better on Monday. So if you're in it around the area in Alpharetta,
perhaps there's a SQL Saturday coming up as well.
Oh, there is a SQL Saturday. Alex and I will be presenting day after dashboard today. I think there's lots of people.
So SQL Saturday Atlanta. Is it actually called SQL Saturday?
Yep. I think
it's Data Saturday or okay. So it's in Atlanta. When is it? When is it?
The 24th is the pre-con. February the 24th is the pre-con. February 25th is the actual SQL Saturday. And Adam and I are going to be at Bits.
We are going to be at SQL Bits mid-March.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Yeah. Where we will be in the SQL Power Hour and Johnny will not, because Johnny's session's at the same time.
The Power Hour. Yeah. We got lots going on. At Bits. We got lots going on.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there. Another great stream in the books. And we will see everyone on the interwebs. And we got some videos coming out this week. So looking forward to it. We'll see you all next weekend. All right. Have a great rest of your weekend.
the street, come to me, let him breathe, let him feel till his heart despair. Oh, let me wash away the very nature of my passions and my pleasures, let me bend the will.